I wanted to be positive today. I wanted to talk about every team's best move from the 2024 offseason, in my opinion. This could be something that happened in the trade department. They could have signed a free agent. They could have re-signed one of their own players. It could be a draft pick, or it could even be a coaching hire as well. And like always, let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my selections for this video, and let me know your favorite team's best move this offseason in the comments below. Warriors, this was a notable offseason for them. They didn't have their first round pick at 14th overall. Had to give it to the Portland Trailblazers. They lost Klay Thompson, one of their best players in franchise history, to the Dallas Mavericks in free agency, but I really like them getting Buddy Hield this offseason. We all know that Klay Thompson's shot is still there, but he took a step back defensively last year, and I think getting Buddy Hield is going to be a nice replacement for Klay Thompson. Not as good as a defender, but also just as good as a three-point shooter. Buddy Hield last year in 84 games. Yeah, he played 84 because he got traded from the Pacers to the Sixers. He averaged 12 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. Shot 44% from the field, 39% from 3, and 88% from the line. Ever since Buddy Hield got drafted back in 2016, he's been a top 5 shooter in this league, and actually has the second most points from this draft class, ahead of guys like Pascal Siakam, Brandon Ingram, Domantas Sabonis, and Jamal Murray, which is a cool fact. So I think Buddy Hield is going to be a nice addition for Golden State that could still provide what Klay Thompson did from behind the arc. For the LA Lakers, they had kind of a quiet offseason, but they did make the headlines getting JJ Redick as their head coach, but I really like them getting Dalton Knecht in the first round out of Tennessee. The Lakers needed somebody NBA ready. They took a little bit more of a project guy last year in Jalen Hood-Schifino. Hasn't worked out so far, but getting somebody like Dalton Knecht can help provide immediate impact for a Lakers team that's window is pretty much closing. We don't have many LeBron years left. Who knows how many more healthy years you're going to get out of Anthony Davis. So getting somebody like Dalton Knecht who can make an immediate impact as a scorer off the bench or in the starting lineup is going to be huge. He's had a nice summer league so far, and he's going to be a good complementary shooter to LeBron and AD. I actually really like the Sacramento Kings offseason as a whole. I love the draft pick of Devin Carter. I'm thrilled they brought back Malik Monk, but I really like the sign and trade for DeMar DeRozan. Now, a lot of people are going to criticize this sign and trade as well because you had to give up a future swap down the line, and you may feel like this team is going to have limited shooters with Sabonis, Fox, and DeRozan all out there at the same time. But in my opinion, I think this opens up a lot for the Sacramento Kings offense. If you look at it just as an individual upgrade over Harrison Barnes, this is a massive deal for Sacramento that got better this offseason. DeMar DeRozan has been a consistent, efficient scorer in isolation, in the post, and his overall mid-range game over the last couple of years for Chicago. He's still an elite scorer at his age of 34, and this provides somebody with playoff experience, a veteran that Sacramento desperately needs, and I'm really excited to watch this team as a whole in 2025. It was also a notable offseason for the LA Clippers. They lost Paul George in free agency. He signed with the Philadelphia 76ers, but I love them getting Derrick Jones Jr. with their mid-level exception from the Dallas Mavericks. In the playoffs, Derrick Jones Jr. was one of the best defenders on the perimeter and in isolation, guarding teams' best overall wings, and he even flashed somewhat of a three-point shot as well. He's going to be a great rim runner and cutter behind James Harden, who's still a really good facilitator at this point in his career. And I think that was a great pickup for the LA Clippers as they're entering into a new era with new branding, new arena, and no longer having Paul George on their roster. The Phoenix Suns really couldn't do much this offseason. They did fire Frank Vogel for Mike Budenholzer. They re-signed Royce O'Neal. I like them picking up Monty Morris, but I'm going to say drafting Ryan Dunn was their best move. Ryan Dunn's shot is always going to be in question. It's been inconsistent in Summer League. It was inconsistent at Virginia. Well, you know what's not going to be inconsistent? His point of attack defense, his off-ball defense, and that's what Phoenix needs at times in a pinch, for him to go out there and guard other teams' best wings, best guards offensively, and Ryan Dunn can provide that for a Phoenix team that really doesn't have great perimeter defenders. They have some fine ones, but getting somebody like Ryan Dunn can be something that Phoenix needs either in the crunch time or throughout a stretch of the season where they need a top defender. I like the way that Charlotte is heading. They kind of cleaned house. They got a new ownership, new front office, new coaching staff, and I'm going to say hiring Charles Lee was the best move they made and moving on from Steve Clifford. I think drafting Tijon Salon could be fine. Re-signing Miles Bridges is fine as well, but getting Charles Lee, who seems like he's already changing the culture, the locker room in Charlotte, and that's what they need. Going out there and getting veterans, moving on from guys like PJ Washington, Terry Rozier, and Gordon Hayward was a step in the right direction for Charlotte, and now they can build around Charles Lee with a younger team of LaMelo Ball, Nick Smith Jr., Brandon Miller, Salon, Mark Williams, Miles Bridges, and some others. Orlando didn't really need KCP, but I can't fault them for going out and getting him, so KCP was the best move they made this offseason. This team was already one of the better defensive teams in all of the NBA last year, and you're adding KCP, who was a top 15 defender overall last year, in my opinion. He can be somebody that has championship experience, that has the ability to knock down big-time shots in a playoff setting, and that's what Orlando needs. He could be a great complementary piece to Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. So 2 thumbs up for me for Orlando going out there and spending their money and pretty much getting the biggest free agent they have signed in over 2 decades. Miami didn't make like a big splash this offseason. They still have Tyler Hero on their team. I really like the re-signing of Bam Adebayo. But you know what? I'm going to give some love to their draft pick of Kel'el Ware, who's looked fantastic in the summer league so far. Kel'el Ware immediately becomes the best backup 5 that the Miami Heat have had since they drafted Bam Adebayo back in 2017. And it provides some youth, excitement, and energy off the bench as well in that second unit. No longer having veterans on the floor out there that get gassed in 8 to 10 minutes a night. You have Kel'el Ware who's going to run the floor, hustle up and down, and really show off his athleticism in the second unit. And I also think he's going to have the ability to play next to Bam Adebayo as well, which is going to provide some really fun front court duo between the two because of their elite shot blocking ability. I know he's had a bad summer league so far, but Alex Sarr, getting him at number 2 is the best move Washington has made. Don't buy too much in the summer league. Plenty of all-stars in the NBA had poor summer leagues, and I know Alex Sarr has not been good offensively, but when we talked about him in the pre-draft process, he's a project play. He's somebody that isn't NBA ready offensively, and we see the potential defensively in the summer league. He's been fantastic as a shot blocker and as a rim protector, but he needs to be more aggressive. He needs to be more physical, but I think Washington getting him at number 2 is still a home run for them because it's a position of need. It's somebody that has best player in the draft potential still and was the best move they made this offseason. But I also love their draft as a whole. Bub Carrington at 14, Keyshawn George at the end of the first round. Thumbs up from me all around from their 2024 draft class. For Atlanta, it was finally trading DeJounte Murray, realizing it was not working between him and Trae Young in that backcourt. And I actually really like the return that they got for DeJounte Murray as well, getting Dyson Daniels, EJ Liddell, Larry Nance Jr., Cody Zeller, a 2025 first round pick from the Lakers, and a future 2027 first round pick as well. And now this provides more flexibility for Atlanta. We'll see what they can do with Dyson Daniels. He will help out their point of attack defense. This opens up more cap space for them down the line as well, opens up more minutes and shots for their younger guys like Jalen Johnson and their number 1 overall pick, Zachary Reese-Shea. So I think this is going to be a bridge year for the Atlanta Hawks. For Minnesota, I did not think that they were going to be this active during the 2024 NBA draft, and they were. Getting Rob Dillingham at number 8 and Terrence Shannon Jr. at the end of the first round were the best moves they made this offseason. Getting Rob Dillingham provides some insurance and the successor to Mike Conley when he eventually retires. And getting Terrence Shannon Jr. at the end of the first round, crazy value and a perfect fit in Minnesota, fits their defensive identity, but also can be a great shot creator off the bench and can provide some much needed shooting for that second unit as well. The Denver Nuggets didn't make too many moves this offseason, and I would have talked about De'Ron Holmes, who they got at the end of the first round. Unfortunately, he suffered an Achilles tear, so he's about all of his rookie year. So you know what? I kind of like the Russell Westbrook move. I mean, getting Russell Westbrook for the minimum, picking him up in free agency and moving on from Reggie Jackson, I think is an upgrade in the micro view. And they didn't really make too many moves this offseason. I'm not saying it was the best one in the NBA, but I think getting Russell Westbrook will be a positive for them. It provides some energy off the bench, and I think there could be some really fun 2-man lineups between Russell Westbrook and Nikola Jokic in the pick and roll. And their starting franchise point guard, Jamal Murray, has had his injury concerns in the past. So Russ can be somebody that can go into the starting lineup in a pinch and can get his younger teammates involved like Julian Strawther, Peyton Watson, and Christian Brown, because it's a big year for those 3 and their development. I really like the Portland Trailblazers getting Denny Avdia this offseason. They moved on from Malcolm Brogdon, a veteran. They moved on from the 14th overall pick, which they didn't really need another young guy in the room, and a not too favorable first round pick down the line to get Denny Avdia from the Washington Wizards, who's coming off a 2024 season where he averaged 15 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 51% from the field, 37% from 3, took nice steps offensively and defensively for one of the worst teams in the NBA. It was a dysfunctional environment in Washington, but Denny still had the best year of his career, finished 6th in most improved player voting, and is going to be a nice complementary piece to Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe, Anthony Simons, and their new 7th overall pick, Donovan Clingan, going forward. And oh yeah, is on one of the best contracts in the league. For OKC, you could talk about signing Isaiah Hartenstein here, but I like the Alex Caruso trade a little bit more. Josh Giddey's going to be a free agent in the 2025 offseason. You were not paying him, and we saw the weaknesses that the Thunder had when they had to play him in the playoffs this past year. He's not a reliable shooter. He's not a reliable defender, and you got somebody in Alex Caruso that could be a perfect glue guy for you come April, May, and June. Caruso's coming off a year where he averaged 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 3.5 assists. He's a 47% field goal shooter, and oh yeah, a 41% three-point shooter, which is a massive upgrade over Josh Giddey, and oh yeah, was an all defensive caliber guard last year as well, which is the complete opposite of what Josh Giddey is. And I actually think it was a win-win trade for both parties, but getting Alex Caruso is such an upgrade for OKC and what they need to be a championship team in 2025 and going forward. For Utah, they didn't really make too many big moves this offseason, but I really like their draft class as a whole, so I'm going to talk about getting Cody Williams at 10 and Isaiah Collier at 29. I think Cody Williams provides immense upside on the perimeter for them. I think immediately as a defender and as an off-ball scoring option as well, and I think can thrive in that second unit, but also getting Isaiah Collier at 29 is a home run as well. In my opinion, was a top 10 player in this class and could be a nice point guard for them going forward as well, for a team that's trying to figure out its identity and maybe could move Larry Market in this offseason as well. For the Indiana Pacers, it's just pretty much re-signing Pascal Siakam and running this team mostly back. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and they were able to give Pascal Siakam a max extension. Siakam is coming off a year for the Indiana Pacers where he got traded to them back in January, played 41 games for Indiana and averaged 21 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists a night on good efficiency, and showed up in the playoffs as well. All 3 playoff series against the Bucks in round 1, Knicks in round 2, and Celtics in round 3. He shot above 50% from the field, more than 20 points per night, more than 6.5 rebounds, and 4 assists. And he's a great number 2 to Tyrese Haliburton for Indiana going forward. And with this team being in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, bringing back Pascal Siakam and Obi Toppin, and this Pacers team is in prime position to go back to the conference finals next year. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, it has to be re-signing Donovan Mitchell this offseason to a 3-year, $150 million extension. Now this extends their window with Donovan Mitchell on the roster. It would have been a shame if they had to move him this offseason after only getting 2 years with him after giving up a haul back in the 2022 offseason. So now you have Donovan Mitchell at least for the next couple of seasons where you could try to win a title with him in his prime, and you still have tons of flexibility with multiple great trade assets already on the roster to try to win a title with Donovan Mitchell as your number 1. For the Detroit Pistons, it's just got to be getting multiple veterans this offseason, getting Tim Hardaway Jr., Tobias Harris, and Malik Beasley. Now don't laugh, don't laugh. It's obviously not championship level moves getting Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Malik Beasley, but these are guys that are going to take the load off of Cade Cunningham and can help his development. They can help Jaden Ivey's development, Jalen Duren's development, Ron Holland, Bobby Klitman, and that young core on that Detroit Pistons roster. Didn't even mention Asor Thompson, the 5th overall pick back in 2023. And oh yeah, firing Monty Williams is a step in the right direction as well. For the Milwaukee Bucks, it's got to be getting Gary Trent Jr. on a 1-year minimum contract. Gary Trent Jr., in my opinion, is at least worth $10 million a year, and getting him on a minimum for a team that really couldn't do much financially this offseason is a home run. Trent Jr. is coming off a season where he averaged 14 points, 2.5 rebounds, and 2 assists, shot 42.5% from the field and 39% from 3. I don't think he's going to be an elite player by any means for the Milwaukee Bucks, and I do think we have to tamper expectations on what Gary Trent Jr. is as a player, but if he can provide at least average defense and be a knockdown 3-point shooter and an upgrade over what Malik Beasley was last year, it's a great move for Milwaukee. And for the Chicago Bulls, you could mention drafting Matas Buzelis, but I actually think getting Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso was a great deal for them. Josh Giddey's coming off a year where he averaged 12 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 5 assists for the Thunder, shot 48% from the field and 34% from 3, all while being basically the number 4 scoring option for them. He had a really poor first half to the year, but over his last 21 games for OKC, those numbers went up to 54% from the field, 37% from 3, and averaged 16 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 6 assists a night. And he's going to be able to get his teammates involved. He's going to help the development of Matas, their rookie. He's going to help the development of Kobe and Adesumu, and I think be the floor general for that offense, something they really haven't had since Lonzo Ball got hurt a couple years ago. Houston made a interesting move this offseason, giving away the Nets first round picks for Phoenix's, but them getting Reed Shepherd at number 3 looks like a home run already for what he's doing in the summer league. The Houston Rockets have so much young talent on this team, so I hope Reed Shepherd plays more than 25 minutes a night next year because he's NBA ready. The shot is there. He could slow down the game. He's got a great mid-range jumper as well. He can get his teammates involved, and he's an above average defender on the perimeter also, and he has real potential to be the best player in this 2024 draft, and they got him at 3. For Dallas, it's got to be getting Klay Thompson on a 3-year deal this summer. I like the other moves of getting Najee Marshall and Quentin Grimes, but Klay Thompson provides championship experience, that pedigree for a team that came up short in the finals last year, and by the time they got to the finals, PJ Washington, Derrick Jones Jr., Josh Green were not really reliable as 3-point shooters, but Klay Thompson will provide that reliability if Dallas were to make it back far in the playoffs next year. For Memphis, they didn't make too many moves this offseason. I don't mind the Zach Edey draft pick at number 9, but I'm actually going to say something they did recently, and trading Zaire Williams was their best move because it opens up minutes for their younger wings and former second-round picks in Vince Williams and Gigi Jackson that broke out last season. Vince Williams can provide some great rebounding and defense off the bench in the second unit, and Gigi Jackson looks so good offensively for somebody that was a raw prospect coming in out of South Carolina and didn't really have too many expectations in his rookie season, and now there's minutes for Vince Williams and Gigi Jackson to play a ton next year to continue their development as good rotational pieces and complementary guys to Ja, Triple J, and Desmond Bane. For the New Orleans Pelicans, I'm going to say it's trading for DeJounte Murray. I don't love DeJounte Murray as a fit on most rosters in this league, but New Orleans has desperately needed a facilitating point guard since they traded away Drew Holiday a couple years ago. CJ McCollum is more of an off-ball shot creator, not really as a number 1 initiator, and DeJounte Murray can be that guy for New Orleans. I hope he doesn't really bring the ball-stopping tendencies that he had in Atlanta over to New Orleans and can get Zion involved, can get Ingram involved, and some of the other wings they have there as well. They really didn't have to give up too much to get him, so I think it was a solid move. I love San Antonio drafting Stephon Castle at number 4. I thought it was a little bit of a head scratcher to trade away the 8th overall pick, but getting Chris Paul to have him be the veteran that can get Wemby the ball next year, definitely their best move. Chris Paul still has it, man. Basically coming off the bench last year, he averaged 7 assists for the Golden State Warriors, still 9 points a night, solid efficiency as well. And if he could just replicate what he did last year for Golden State for San Antonio this year, we're going to see Wemby develop. We're going to see Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, and all the young guys in San Antonio further their development because Chris Paul can get them the ball and be the perfect veteran for that team. It was one of my favorite signings from this offseason. For the Knicks, they made arguably the biggest move this offseason. They traded for Mikal Bridges from their crosstown rival in the Brooklyn Nets, so that had to be their best move. You could also give a shout out to getting Jalen Brunson on that pay cut, but getting Mikal Bridges, who could be someone that's going to crash the glass, be another elite perimeter defender with OG Anunoby out there, could be a great shooter, and can also just provide another top-end talent in the playoffs. It's a championship caliber move for the Knicks, so going out and getting Mikal Bridges, in my opinion, was their best move this offseason, but I think it's right up there with them getting Jalen Brunson on that hometown discount because that was a goated move by Brunson. As for the Brooklyn Nets, it's getting their first round picks back from the Houston Rockets and making the Mikal Bridges trade. Thank God the Nets didn't try to make a move for a veteran this offseason like a Zach LaVine just to be the 19 in the Eastern Conference next year and stay in purgatory. They had an out from Houston to get their picks back so they could make the Mikal Bridges trade and get a haul of draft picks from the Knicks. The Knicks overpaid for Mikal Bridges. They had to because the Nets didn't really need to move Mikal Bridges, and now they could enter into a proper rebuild. They could tank for Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey, Nolan Troyer. There's going to be 5 really good prospects next year, so even if they end up with the worst record in the NBA, you're guaranteed one of them. So it's a step in the right direction for Brooklyn and their rebuild and their future. On to Philadelphia, it's getting the biggest free agent this summer in Paul George. The contract will be a little bit scary towards the end of it when he is 38 years old, but getting somebody that averaged 22.5 points, 5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists last year, he shot 47% from the field, 41% from 3, 91% from the line. He was an all-star as well as your number 3 option behind Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey is one of the best moves from this offseason for the 2025 season. I think the 76ers had a solid offseason as well, getting some other veterans, drafting Jared McCain. Like I said, this contract could not age great by the end of it, but I think for 2025 and 2026, this is going to be a championship contending move. The Boston Celtics won the 2024 NBA Finals, so they really couldn't do too much this offseason, so I would say just re-signing their guys of Jason Tatum on the Supermax and re-signing Derek White as well were great moves. I really thought Derek White could have made $40 million on the open market for what he can do on both ends of the floor, and Boston got him back, on my opinion, a nice discount, so I think that was their best move this offseason. And for the Raptors, they didn't really make too many moves as well, so I'll just say re-signing their young guys of Emmanuel Quickley and Scotty Barnes were the best moves they could have possibly made. But it is interesting that their trio of RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, and Emmanuel Quickley pretty much taking up most of their cap space. I wonder what the ceiling is with that trio. So Raptors fans, you can let me know in the comments, what was the best move you thought they made this offseason? They were tricky. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, I would appreciate it if you drop a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Make sure you check out Underdog Fantasy. Link to that is in the description. Use code SROS for a 50% deposit match up to $250. I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.